My name is Purity Njuguna and I'm a nutritionist. And today we've partnered with Ponea Health to talk about nutrition and health. And in this specific video, we're talking about nutrition in diabetes. When we are talking about diabetes, we mean that the individual who's been diagnosed with diabetes is unable to control their sugars, their blood sugars. So one of the things that they can do is manage it using lifestyle changes and diet. So in terms of diet, one of the things that you can do is make sure that the kind of foods that you're eating does not directly contribute to your sugars either rising, and also to manage the way your diet is so that you don't find that at certain times of the day you have hypoglycemia, which happens when your blood sugars are too low, or hyperglycemia because you've eaten foods that increase your blood sugar to a very high extent. So there are types of foods that will cause hyperglycemia, and that is food that is very rich in carbohydrates or sugars. So one of the best methods of controlling diabetes is eating foods that are very rich in whole grains, because whole grains contain fiber that also helps you control the amount of sugar that you're getting into your bloodstream from the food. So another thing that will help you is making sure that your diet is very rich in all the essential food groups. For example, vegetables and fruits. So making sure that your vegetables and fruits make a bigger percentage or a bigger part of your diet is very essential, because the fiber in our vegetables also helps in countering the effect of high amounts of sugar in your diet. So it's very possible to control diabetes with your diet by making sure, like I said, make sure that each food group has the right proportions. So if we are using our hands, this is called the hand jive. So you can use your hand jive to control the amount of portions in your diet. So the carbohydrate in your diet, or another name for it, the grains in your diet, is only this much, or it only looks like your fist. So for the vegetables, they will fit in your palm, in both of your palms. For the protein, they only reach with your open palm. You can measure it. This is the amount of protein that you can use. So, and also the fat you can measure with your thumb, and this is about a teaspoon in your food. So if you're not using the hand jive to measure the amount of proportions in your diet, you can also use the plate. So for someone who's managing your sugars, make sure that your plate is half of your plate contains vegetables, and a quarter the carbohydrates, and a quarter the protein. In this way, the fiber in the vegetables will be able to counter the effect of sugars. So another thing that is very important for someone who is trying to manage diabetes is glycemic index, knowing the glycemic index of foods. So what is a glycemic index? When you're talking about glycemic index, we're meaning the rate at which different foods affect your blood sugar. So you'll find that certain foods, when you eat certain foods, your blood sugar will rise very rapidly. But when you're eating other foods, it does not rise as rapidly as the other one. So the higher the glycemic index, the more dangerous it is for an individual with diabetes. So how can you know foods that have a higher glycemic index? So one, foods that are in themselves, they are very sweet. So that includes just sugar, processed foods, baked goods like cakes, cookies. They all have a high glycemic index. Also, you'll find that in other groups, like for example in fruits, you'll find that there are some fruits that have a very high glycemic index. For example, when you eat watermelon, you'll find that your blood sugar will rise at a very high rate compared to eating another fruit. So how do we know which foods to eat and which foods not to eat? So like I've said, the foods that are processed, like baked goods or fried foods, are best to avoid for someone who's trying to manage their sugars, and also for someone who is trying to manage their sugars. For the fruits and other foods, make sure that there's fiber in that type of food. So for example, if I am eating a muffin, is it the white, is it made using the white flour, the refined flour, or is it made using the unrefined? It's better when if you're eating baked goods or wheat products or any grain product, that to make sure that they are all made using the whole grains. In this way, you'll be able to introduce fiber that will help you control the sugars. Another thing is making sure that when you're eating your fruits, introduce the fiber by try not to remove the peel. So for fruits that you can eat with the peels, eat with the peels. Another thing that you can do when you're eating fruit is make sure you eat it whole rather than eating it as juice. So when we blend or when we puree fruits, you'll find that a lot of the fiber is removed. Rather than when you eat it whole, you'll have all the fiber included. So that's how you can make sure that your food is very good that's how you can make sure that your food as a diabetic is able to help you manage your sugars. Thank you for joining us in this discussion. You can book my services on ponea.com, and I look forward to engaging with you more on our next episodes.